Hello, everyone out there on YouTube land. This is Kermit again at Orange Pickle 2. I decided I was going to redo my Astaro uh, security gateway version 8 because it was a little bit too long and I got a little too long-winded in it. So I'm going to try and make a new video. It's a little shorter. Okay, so here goes. Back here in the corner is the computer case that has my proxy server in it. Proxy server is actually manufactured by a company called Astaro, A-S-T-A-R-O. They also have another name for the company, which is, I'll spell it for you, capital S-O-P-H-O-S Network Security. A few years ago, the two companies combined, and you can find this software under both companies' names, but primarily it will be under Astaro, and this is the Security Gateway version 8. They have recently come out with a version 9, which I'm not going to make a video of because I don't feel like upgrading. This particular software package that they do have is fine for my needs. Now, give you an idea as to what this thing does. This a proxy server is a software package that is usually overlaid on, say, a working software on a computer, such as an old P4 or something like that may have Windows 2000 installed on it, or maybe even Windows 98. XP is probably one of the more preferred versions. And what happens is you get this proxy server software, and it's basically an overlay over an active system, which is pretty good. And sometimes you can find freeware, and sometimes you have to find stuff that you have to pay for. In my particular case, I was looking for freeware, and as a result, I found the Astaro Security Gateway. Now, this is not just a proxy server, but it is, well, it's actually a pretty incredible piece of software. It allows you to set up like antivirus, anti-spam features, which and also you can set it up for VPN pass-through off of your primary computers. Of course, we all have to know that unless you cannot run a virtual private network off of a regular computer and the only exception I have found to that is Windows XP Professional 32-bit. Evidently, there is a small server within Windows XP Professional which does allow you to set up a virtual private network through your NECs on there. But that's another story entirely, and we're not going to get into it any further than that. So what we have here in the function of this is the server. The two things that are important about a proxy server and also these gateways is that it requires two LAN cards. I should say a LAN card and a WAN card, and a World Wide Web card and a LAN output card on the other side of things. Now, that's one of the things that's important about making the actual firewall, which a proxy server is also that of. The computer itself is a physical firewall. In its truest sense, it is a hardware firewall, which are a lot harder to hack than your little firewalls that are coming out with your routers. Now theoretically your router has a firewall, hardware firewall, which makes you invisible on the internet. Well, the modern day hacker is a lot more efficient at hacking than they were, 10, 15 years ago when they first came out with routers. I myself have a couple of routers in my system before I get to my computers. In other words, I have basically 2 routers set up in my systems. And then I break down my systems with a couple more routers behind the second secondary router. I do that so I can separate my computer workshop from my personal usages, so I don't have to worry about any viruses that may be on a computer which I start working on from somebody else owns. That says, my computer don't run, can you fix it for me? I will try. Are you using your computer in your administrator account? What's administrator account? Oh, I love that. That's the first account on your computer. Well, why? Well, why is it important? Only way you can get viruses on your computer is to run them on the administrator account. Well, I've had a computer for 20 years and I didn't know that. And I said, okay, not my fault you never read Windows Help. Okay, let me get away from that sideline. But that's usually the way it is. But anyway, yeah, I like to separate out my systems. And to tell you the truth, I actually got this software some time ago, and I installed it on another motherboard, and it was a little bit faster processor. And I was never able to by following the actual instructions, to ever get the damn thing to work. And pardon my language, but I found it to be a whole source of irritation for me. Primarily because the thing has a built-in not domain, but a DHCP server, and it actually assigns your LAN addresses, which is kind of cool. And that's the reason why I have a switch back here in the corner, and you go to this other computer right in here. Okay, so I could have directly hooked it up, but I prefer going through the switch. So actually I have my original WAN, my original Ethernet card that came with the computer. It's built in, being used. It's a 10100. My router up there is a 10100 router, so it doesn't make any difference. But on the back side of things, I do have a gig WAN, because everything, all my other routers behind it are WAN or gigabit routers. It's for a little bit faster. So that's how I did that. Anyhow, the basic equipment requirement is a motherboard that allows you to connect 2 Ethernet cards, either one built in, one not built in, which is an add-on. They have to be made by different companies and preferably using different software. In my case, my gig LAN card is using an Athos software, and the motherboard I'm using right now is a 478 socket, and it's made by a company called Soyo, S-O-Y-O, that made computers for about 6 years, and then they went out of business. They were from Taiwan. It's a pretty basic motherboard, and I took it out of a computer that my sons had bought years ago out on the island of Guam, and I bought them a new computer, and I dragged this one all the way over to El Paso from the island of Guam via a ship I was on to and I think I mailed it to myself from Bakersfield, California to here. Anyhow, that's how I ended up bringing it all the way from Guam to here to El Paso. My sons still live in Guam, even though their father has moved here to El Paso. Now, having explained that part of things, the beautiful functions of this server are you can control a lot of stuff with it. Let me open this thing back up, and I've already got the GUI, I should say, opened up. Okay, there it is. Has a real beautiful interface. Now the interface, I'll have to let you take a look at it up there, is https:// .192.168.2.100:4444. So you type that into your browser, and first thing is going to happen after it types into the browser is going to say security certificate is invalid, and we do not like this. We don't want you to use it. It'll mess your brains up. And then you say click on the part that says go ahead and do so, and then Firefox will still argue with you, and Internet Explorer, if that's what you're using, will still argue with you. And then you say yes, I want to do so. And if you're smart, then what you do is you are offered, at least in Firefox, a thing which says, okay, would you like to put this on a permanent list of accepted IP addresses that certificates do not match our criteria? And you click yes, and then you install it on there, and then you will have no more problems accessing your gateway on Firefox after you have saved that. Now we're in the GUI. Your initial setup, follow the instructions on that. As far as getting into the GUI is concerned, like I said, it is a secured HTTPS type secured access. Some of the things you will need to do when you set it up, you will have to go into system settings here, and you'll have to set up a host name. I created that name there. Then you have an organizational name. I just put my name in there for some reasons, and of course the thing can send you emails telling you that they're having problems, so I put my personal email address in there. Heck, I don't care. Everybody in the world knows my email anyway. It has time and date, and you can also, 9th day of August 2015. Time is 19 hours, which is basically, I have it in military time, so it's 2:27 a.m. or, well, whatever the case is. Slight difference between the gateway time and my actual computer time, but I can never get them to coordinate. And of course, you can also set up your time zones. You can synchronize to an NTP server protocol. You can set that up. You have to apply it to do so. I haven't done it yet. And you can also go into shell access and SSH access, and there's processes for doing that. It's a very, very, very advanced gateway and server. You can break. There's all kinds of things you can do with this thing. Your definitions, as you can see in here, users and groups and clients authentications and authentications for servers, and then you've got your interfaces and routings, and it's got all this stuff over here. It has a plug-in, a thing for getting Adobe Flash Player for whatever reason. You got interfaces, bridging quality of service, which is like quality of service attacks, which have to do with, at any rate, basically the same stuff you'll find in an actual router. Uplink monitoring, IPv6 does that. Static routing, dynamic routing, you can do that. Border gateway protocol, whatever that is. Multicast routings. It's got features that some of them are disabled because your personal use license that you get when you order the software and whatnot does not have as many features as it would have if you get a commercial license. And the personal usage license is free, which is one of the reasons why I like this system. It has so much you can do with it. The commercial side of things has about 10 times more things you can do with the thing, but you know, if you want to have the commercial side, that's for people who are primarily businesses that are, you know, using, you know, multiple servers behind their systems, and you know, have, you know, 5,000 or 6,000 computers in their systems and whatnot like that. You know how it is. And it has a lot more features. You go down to the network services, you've got domain name server, DHCP server, and as I mentioned, again, 50 IP addresses under DHCP, which on the LAN side of your proxy server here, the gateway, that's a tremendous number, and you don't need a router behind it. All you need is a switch, and you know, up to 50 IP addresses. It's great. And you can also do, you know, NTP, and you've got this thing in here called network security. You've got firewalls. You've got NAT, intrusion prevention. Again, you know, some of these features are available to you, and some of them aren't. You have to go through and search them out as to what you want to do with your firewall. And I think it's a whole lot better firewall than you can come up with than you can get with you know, going to Hack 5 when they talk about their, you know, building your own router firewall. Well, yeah, this is basically a router. It has the same features but much more advanced. Web security, you set it up on your own if it's available for personal use. It's not set up, so you know, you should be able to set it up. Some of the features may or may not be able to do so, but when you get down in here, when you start looking at this stuff, I was pointing the camera at the moon for a few minutes, you know, some other features like, you know, SMTP profiles, POP3, encryption, quarantine reports, mail manager, mail archiving, and then you've got your wireless security. It's got a whole section on how to do wireless security running through your gateway. This is kind of like an advertising, because they actually do make physical equipment that you can use and set it up in a rack mount, etc. Web application security, you know, you got certificate management and your web application firewalls, which you can set up. That can get really dangerous for you, because you start messing around in that section, it will keep you from getting onto the internet. I can tell you that right now. Then you've got your red management, and it's kind of shows you how to do certain things, like, you know, reinventing branch office security. How do you do that? You know, Boston, Sydney, or central office, and then you have your internet, etc. You get into that on your own if you get the system. And then you've got site-to-site VPN, and you'd have to set that up on your own, and of course that has to go through a server. Servers are basically where you get VPN through. You can't do it with a regular computer. I won't go into that. And then you got, you know, Amazon VCP, and then you got IPS, and you got SSL and certificate management, and you got remote access, and it has a bunch of ways to do remote access. And then you got your logging and reporting, and it says log partition size and etc., etc. But then you can go in here and you can view your log files, today's log files. If whatever it is, if you want to check into, it says what it is. It tells you your date, your time, and then you click over here on view, and it opens it up, and it tells you what it is. It's very complete logs, in case you have a problem or you. And the other thing is, if it isolates a virus, it won't tell you that it isolated the virus, but it will tell you, let you know. You come down here, you can see what what thing you downloaded was that had a virus in it, and it will find that in your logs. And then you've got reporting settings, and I mean, look at all the stuff you can do in this. You know, web security, mail security again, and these are all logs for these different sections of your router. Not of the router, but of your well, actually, it is a router in certain respects, of your firewall. And then you've got support, knowledge base, open up a new window, known issue list, hardware compatibility list, etc., and all the other stuff. One nice feature is you can come up here and you go into your dashboard. You can also open up anywhere you want to, and you can click up here on this little open online help, and it gives you all this information, and it will break it down for you. You can click up here for web administrator, and it tells you all about your web administrator. Really nice. It's functional. It helps you educate yourself on it. Now understand something. You can download the actual owner's manual for this in PDF form, and you're looking at almost 500 pages. And when I say 500 pages, I mean in-depth knowledge. 500 pages. It will take you a month of reading every day to be able to figure out that 500-page document. Drove me crazy trying to figure it out, and I'm a fairly good reader. But I'm just showing you some of the stuff that you can get with this thing, and it's a really, really stable, very, very stable firewall. You know, it's your individual equipment that you may have that may cause you some problems. Now, I have noticed that there are times that the system will shut itself down and reset, and it usually does that like about around midnight at night. I'm still playing with mine, and again, like I said, they have a newer version of it, which is version number 9, and I will be putting some more information on this firewall proxy server, whatever you wish to call it, in the remarks section. There's a bunch of other really good videos that I had discovered concerning this stuff recently, and a lot more information than what I found when I first did this. Now, I'm going to say this, so this is a caution for you. When you download this operating system, you're going to get emails from them, but one of the emails will tell you that, you know, they will give you a certain amount of support. That support only applies to systems that you buy a license, which is for commercial usage. I'm going to emphasize this again if I haven't said it already. Your personal usage license allows you to use this system for free. It's freeware under that personal usage license. However, for personal usage, they will tell you they will not waste their time providing you any support. You are 100% on your own in trying to figure out how to make this system work using this dashboard. Now, I hope that this has been an informative video. I hope that you have enjoyed it. It's a very functional firewall and proxy system. In fact, I think it's probably the best available to you on the internet for free. I recommend it. I do not endorse products that I have not experimented with, although I will say it took me 5 years to figure out how to make the dang thing work, and I quit following their actual instructions on how to do so and just let it boot itself up. And in fact, the only video I had found on this previously, basically the guy says, don't touch anything. It let itself boot itself up. And eventually, it will open up and provide you with this ETH number 1, which is my WAN side, and that will eventually go from red to green. And when it goes red to green, you will no longer get a little yellow triangle down here in your network access little symbol down there on the bottom of your bar. It'll go back and it will start saying, you know, internet access on it. Once it actually finishes the operating systems, you know, loading up, etc., to give you to this point where it will give you a green light. You might have to reboot your system 2-3 times in order for it to actually start showing this, because sometimes it does glitch a little bit when it does the initial booting. The first couple of times you boot it up, but eventually it will clear itself up. Again, thank you for watching. Was just the last little bit of information I wanted to provide for you on it just now. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave them. But again, you know, I am a merchant sailor. I am not home that much, and I do approve all comments that are on my that I allow people to post on my videos. And if you are one of those haters, you know, the only thing you're going to do is tick myself off, but your post will never be seen on my page. And if a person wants to use foul language, their post will never be seen on my page either. There are questions, comments, whatever. I am a very strong stickler and believer of that. I do censor. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.